Thom, for those who haven't had the opportunity to bask in your sunshine, can you tell us who you are and what you do, and what the role of the Cooperative Housing Federation is in our province?
Sure, I'll happy to. My name is Thom Armstrong. I'm the CEO of the Co-op Housing Federation of BC. So CHFBC is a province-wide federation of housing co-ops. There are, let's call it 271 nonprofit housing co-ops in the province, and 96% of them belong to the federation. That's about 15,500 homes in co-ops spread, across the Lower Mainland, on Vancouver Island, for the time being between Souk and Sydney, and then a sprinkling in the interior and the north. We provide a full suite of services to co-ops, from education to long-term asset management, planning and refinancing, government relations, communications, consulting on various problems or challenges in day-to-day governance and management, and a very robust group buying program that delivers financial and other benefits to members and to the federation. We're also a group of social enterprises. We run Canada's largest co-op management company, a Coho Management, celebrating this year its 40th anniversary and providing services to just about 6,000 co-op homes spread across 90 co-ops, and a very active community land trust with 2,000 occupied homes in its portfolio, another 720 actively under construction, and another 750 homes in the development pipeline. So across that group, we have I think 135 employees, and we're very excited about the prospect of what's coming in our relations with with the broader co-op sector, and also with all three levels of government.
I want to ask you about the relationship with the government, Thom, but first, maybe, certainly housing is probably one of the most pressing issues. We've got lots of pressing issues these days, but housing is certainly an immediate issue for a lot of people. A conversation you have with anybody, family or friends in this province, doesn't go very far before you start talking about housing. To my eye, it looks like a lot of municipal, provincial, and federal governments tend to lean into market solutions to address housing needs. In your opinion, what are the limits of or problems associated with these kinds of market solutions?
I guess I'd start by saying the real challenge in market-driven housing solutions is that the housing market isn't necessarily designed to deliver homes, which might sound like an odd thing to say, but it really is a vehicle for investment. And by that I mean everything from the investment that individuals make in home ownership that they rely on for their retirement plans, to real estate investment trusts and pension funds who treat multi-unit residential housing now as an international asset class in their investment portfolios. And this drives outcomes that don't address the deep affordability needs that people have. More than a third of renters in BC pay more than 30% of their gross income on shelter. 1 in 4 renters pays more than half of their income on shelter, and that's crisis level spending. That just means that they aren't able to direct resources to things as basic as medication, education, a quality of life that would be rewarding. So Canada has really fallen behind in this area. Roughly 4% of the housing stock in the country is what you might call non-market or community-based housing, and that's well below the OECD average. And countries where the housing market is delivering solutions to broader ranges of incomes, you'll see something like 15 to 20% of the housing stock moved outside of the private sector into the community-based housing sector, and that's really the objective that we need to work toward here.
Certainly, people who live in cooperative housing, here in the Lower Mainland, where prices are just through the ceiling, I think, are very thankful for being in that position. And how do we see more? I mean, the recent provincial and federal budgets, they've, to my eye, I thought I saw some resources identified there for social and cooperative housing. And what do those recent budgets mean for cooperative housing, the CHFBC, and for housing co-ops?
Well, I'll start with the no, you might think of as the bad news. The federal budget. The federal government has a unique skill set in making housing announcements. They are like they're brilliant. The problem that you'll see, you might remember that there's in the 2024 budget, they announced a new federal co-op housing program. The problem with that is that that's the same co-op housing program they announced in the 2022 budget and haven't yet delivered. And the amount of money that's being directed toward that is not, the 1.5 billion sounds great, but a full billion of it is in financing, which is now rendered less effective than it might have been by the higher trend in interest rates, and less than 500 million in grants delivered through programs that historically haven't worked in BC. They might work in, they work in rural Saskatchewan, for example, just great. They work in PEI. They don't work in Toronto, Montreal, or Vancouver. So not a lot of not a lot to look to there. This provincial government, though, has made historic levels of investment in community-based housing, and they've done something unique in the country. We hope to see it rolled out nationally, but last year they spun off $500 million into what's known as the Rental Protection Fund. And that's an independent fund managed by the Co-op Housing Federation of BC, the BC Nonprofit Housing Association, and the Aboriginal Housing Management Association. And so far, it is its sole purpose is to fund the equity gap that will allow nonprofit housing providers and the Community Land Trust to purchase existing rental buildings, move them into the community housing sector, and in the case of Community Land Trust acquisitions, offer the opportunity to convert private rental housing into housing co-ops. And we're on target to approach something in the neighborhood of 2,800 homes in the first 18 months of the operation of that fund, and positioned well to ask the provincial government in its re-election platform to replenish that fund and see it made more active. And in the meantime, the Community Land Trust is serving as an engine for growth in the co-op housing sector. It's building new homes, it's acquiring existing homes, it's rescuing distressed assets, it's redeveloping existing co-ops to, in some cases, double and triple the density on existing sites, primarily in the Lower Mainland. And that partnership extends to municipalities that have assets in land, but not a lot of housing development capacity, and are really looking for more permanently affordable outcomes than they can achieve through partnerships with the private sector. So that's really where we're headed. Is this provincial municipal partnership in BC is proving to be very very productive on the housing front. If we could get some matching federal funds to amplify that impact, we would really be singing.
Great. I wish we had more time to talk more in depth about this. As someone posted in the chat, terrific summary of the context that has created the housing crisis, and certainly thanks too for identifying where we might maybe be hopeful in terms of how the cooperative movement can help resolve this problem too. So thanks very much, Thom, for coming in and telling us about your great work.
A real pleasure. Thanks for the invitation. Look forward to next time.